When we think about love, we often romanticize it as something effortless, as though it should come naturally, without struggle or discomfort. But real love, deep, meaningful, and transformative love requires us to show up fully, to lean into vulnerability, and to choose courage over comfort. We live in a world that often celebrates invulnerability. We're taught to armor up, to guard our hearts, and to project an image of strength that says, "I don't need anyone." Yet, paradoxically, it is in our moments of vulnerability when we allow ourselves to be truly seen that we find the deepest connections and the most profound strength. Vulnerability is often misunderstood. Many of us have been conditioned to see it as a flaw, a crack in our armor that exposes us to pain, rejection, or failure. But vulnerability isn't weakness, it's the truest form of courage. To be vulnerable is to step into uncertainty, to take risks, and to engage with life wholeheartedly, knowing full well that there are no guarantees. It's in this space that we grow, learn, and connect. Think about the moments in your life that have shaped you the most. Were they the times when everything was perfect and controlled, or were they the times when you dared to take a chance on love, on a dream, on yourself? Vulnerability is what makes those moments possible. It's the first step in building trust and intimacy with others, because it says, "Here I am without pretense or armor. Will you meet me here?" But why is vulnerability so important in love and relationships? The answer lies in connection. True connection requires authenticity, and authenticity cannot exist without vulnerability. When we hide behind walls, we may protect ourselves from hurt, but we also isolate ourselves from the joy and intimacy that come with being truly known. Imagine a world where everyone wore emotional masks, never revealing their fears, hopes, or insecurities. It would be a world devoid of depth, empathy, and understanding. Love, at its core, is about seeing and being seen. It's about embracing someone's flaws and imperfections while allowing them to see yours. Without vulnerability, love becomes a shallow exchange of pleasantries, devoid of the richness and complexity that make it so transformative. However, let's be honest, vulnerability is uncomfortable. It requires us to confront our fears of rejection, judgment, and failure. It asks us to show up, even when we're not sure how we'll be received. But here's the thing, the discomfort of vulnerability is a small price to pay for the reward of connection. Every time we choose to be vulnerable, we strengthen our ability to trust ourselves and others. We build resilience, courage, and a deeper sense of self-worth. It's also important to recognize that vulnerability is a two-way street. While it's courageous to open up, it's equally important to create a safe space for others to do the same. When someone shares their vulnerability with us, it's an act of trust and bravery. How we respond in those moments can either nurture connection or erode it. Empathy, kindness, and non-judgment are the foundations of holding space for someone's vulnerability. But what happens when vulnerability isn't met with care or understanding? This is where boundaries come into play. Being vulnerable doesn't mean exposing yourself to harm or accepting mistreatment. It means sharing your authentic self in ways that honor your needs and values. If someone dismisses or disrespects your vulnerability, it's not a reflection of your worth, it's a sign that they may not be ready or able to meet you where you are. The relationship between vulnerability and courage is inseparable. It takes immense strength to admit that you don't have all the answers, to apologize when you've made a mistake, or to tell someone how much they mean to you. Yet, these acts of vulnerability are the building blocks of a meaningful life. They require us to lean into uncertainty and embrace the possibility of failure, but they also open the door to profound connection and growth. As we navigate the complexities of relationships, let's remember this vulnerability is not a sign of weakness. It's a testament to our humanity. It's the birthplace of love, belonging, and creativity. It's what allows us to bridge the gaps between us and forge connections that are real and lasting. So the next time you're tempted to hide behind a mask or put up a wall, ask yourself what would happen if I chose to be brave instead. What if I allowed myself to be seen, flaws and all? The answer might surprise you. In the end, vulnerability is not just about opening up to others, it's about opening up to life itself. It's about stepping into the arena, showing up wholeheartedly, and embracing the beauty and messiness of being human. Because it's only when we dare to be vulnerable that we truly live. Love is one of the most profound experiences we can have as human beings. It challenges us, shapes us, and teaches us about connection and courage. Yet, there's a common misconception that love is easy or that it should be free of discomfort. This belief often leads to a pattern of avoidance, where individuals pull away from the challenges of love rather than leaning into them. But here's the truth: love isn't about avoiding hard conversations, uncomfortable emotions, or vulnerability. It's about showing up, even when it feels risky, and choosing connection over fear. When we approach love with avoidance, we deny ourselves the richness and depth of authentic connection. Avoidance may feel like a protective mechanism. It shields us from potential rejection, conflict, or pain. But it also creates barriers that prevent intimacy and trust from flourishing. Love cannot thrive in a space where people hesitate to engage fully. It requires us to step into the discomfort of the unknown, to lean into the difficult moments with the belief that connection is worth the effort. Avoidance often stems from fear. Fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear of being vulnerable. These fears are natural, but they can be paralyzing if left unchecked. When we let fear dictate our actions, we miss opportunities to deepen our relationships and understand ourselves better. Love isn't about being fearless. It's about feeling the fear and choosing to move forward anyway. It's about recognizing that growth and connection lie on the other side of discomfort. Leaning into love means embracing imperfection. Relationships are messy, unpredictable, and at times challenging. They require patience, forgiveness, and a willingness to navigate rough patches together. Avoidance, on the other hand, fosters distance and misunderstanding. When we avoid difficult conversations or suppress our emotions, we create a void where resentment and insecurity can grow. True love calls us to face these challenges head-on, to address misunderstandings with empathy and honesty, and to repair the connection when it falters. One of the most profound acts of love is showing up for someone, especially when it's difficult. This could mean having an honest conversation about your feelings, apologizing for a mistake, or simply being present during a tough time. These moments require courage because they expose us to vulnerability, but they are also the moments that build trust and deepen bonds. When we lean into love, we send a powerful message: I value this relationship enough to face the hard stuff. Leaning into love also means being willing to ask for what we need and to listen to the needs of others. Avoidance often stems from a fear of expressing our desires or setting boundaries. We worry that being honest will lead to conflict or rejection, so we stay silent. But silence creates distance, not safety. Love flourishes in an environment of open communication and mutual understanding. When we lean in, we create space for our needs and emotions to be heard and honored. It's important to recognize that leaning into love doesn't mean abandoning yourself or tolerating harm. It's not about enduring mistreatment or sacrificing your well-being. Rather, it's about showing up with authenticity and courage while also respecting your boundaries. Love is a two-way street. It requires effort and commitment from both parties. If someone consistently avoids engaging with you or refuses to meet you halfway, it's a sign that the relationship may lack the foundation needed for lasting connection. Leaning into love also teaches us resilience. It reminds us that relationships are not about avoiding pain, but about navigating it together. Disagreements, disappointments, and setbacks are inevitable, but they don't have to define the relationship. What matters is how we respond to these moments. Do we retreat into avoidance, or do we lean in with empathy and a willingness to repair? The choice we make in those moments shapes the strength and longevity of the relationship. Ultimately, leaning into love is about prioritizing connection over comfort. It's about taking the risk to be seen, to be heard, and to engage fully with another person. It's about trusting that the discomfort of vulnerability is worth the reward of deeper intimacy. Love is not a passive experience. It's an active process of showing up over and over again, even when it feels uncertain. So let's challenge the narrative that love is about ease and perfection. Let's embrace the truth that love is about effort, courage, and a willingness to lean in. Because when we choose to engage with love fully, we open ourselves to a life of deeper connection, greater understanding, and profound joy. In the realm of relationships, words have power, but actions carry weight. We often hear promises and declarations of love, yet it's through consistent, tangible actions that trust is built and maintained. Love isn't just something you say, it's something you do. When we align our actions with our intentions, we create clarity, nurture trust, and cultivate a sense of belonging that forms the foundation of any meaningful connection. Intentions, while important, are inherently abstract. They reflect our hopes and desires, but they don't always translate into the reality of how we show up for others. Good intentions can be a starting point, but they must be backed by deliberate and thoughtful action. Without this alignment, our intentions risk being misunderstood or lost entirely. For example, someone might intend to make a partner feel valued but fail to express that value through their actions, leaving the partner feeling neglected or unimportant. Clarity is the bridge between intention and connection. When we act with clarity, we remove ambiguity from our relationships. People don't have to guess how we feel or where they stand because our actions consistently communicate our priorities and commitments. This clarity fosters trust, the cornerstone of any strong relationship. Trust isn't built overnight, nor is it sustained by grand gestures alone. It's cultivated through a series of small, consistent actions that demonstrate care, respect, and reliability. Imagine you're navigating a friendship or romantic relationship where one person often says, "You're important to me," but rarely shows up when it matters. Over time, the inconsistency creates confusion and doubt. On the other hand, when someone's actions consistently align with their words when they show up, listen actively, and follow through on promises, it builds a sense of security and belonging. Their actions say, "I see you, I value you, and you can count on me." Belonging is a fundamental human need. We all want to feel seen, understood, and accepted for who we are. When we act with clarity, we communicate to others that they matter and that they have a place in our lives. This sense of belonging doesn't require perfection, it requires presence and intention. It's about showing up authentically, even when it's difficult, and making the effort to connect in meaningful ways. However, acting with clarity isn't always easy. It requires self-awareness, vulnerability, and a willingness to take responsibility for our impact on others. It asks us to reflect on whether our actions align with our values and intentions. Are we showing up in ways that foster connection, or are we unintentionally creating distance? This kind of introspection can be uncomfortable, but it's necessary for growth and authenticity in our relationships. One of the most powerful ways to act with clarity is through consistent communication. Misunderstandings often arise when we assume others know how we feel or what we intend. Clear communication bridges the gap between intention and perception. It ensures that our actions are understood and appreciated. For instance, expressing gratitude, apologizing when we've made a mistake, or affirming someone's importance to us are all ways to reinforce connection and trust. Another key element of clarity is follow-through. When we make commitments, no matter how small, honoring them demonstrates respect and reliability. Whether it's a promise to call, attend an event, or support someone during a challenging time, our ability to follow through reflects the priority we place on the relationship. Conversely, repeated failures to honor commitments can erode trust and create feelings of insecurity or doubt. It's also essential to recognize that acting with clarity doesn't mean we won't make mistakes. We're human, after all, and imperfection is part of the equation. What matters is how we respond when our actions fall short of our intentions. Acknowledging mistakes, taking accountability, and making amends are powerful ways to restore trust and reaffirm commitment. These moments of repair can even strengthen relationships by demonstrating humility and a willingness to grow. Lastly, acting with clarity requires balance. While it's important to prioritize the needs and feelings of others, it's equally important to honor our own boundaries and well-being. Acting with clarity doesn't mean overextending ourselves or neglecting our own needs. It's about finding harmony between giving and receiving, ensuring that our actions reflect a genuine and sustainable connection. When we align our actions with our intentions, we create a foundation of trust and belonging that allows relationships to flourish. We move beyond superficial gestures to engage in authentic, meaningful connection. In this space of clarity and trust, love becomes more than just a feeling, it becomes a lived experience, a mutual exchange of care and commitment. So, let's commit to showing up with clarity in our relationships. Let's choose actions that speak louder than words and align with our deepest values. Because in the end, it's through our actions, consistent, thoughtful, and authentic, that we build the trust and belonging that make love truly extraordinary. Love is one of life's most profound experiences, but it doesn't come prepackaged or perfect. Real, enduring love is built piece by piece, moment by moment, on a foundation of mutual respect, understanding, and effort. It's not a passive state of being, it's an active commitment to showing up for one another, even in the face of challenges. When love is rooted in these principles, it transcends fleeting emotions and becomes a bond that nurtures growth, resilience, and joy. At the core of any healthy relationship lies mutual respect. Respect isn't about agreeing on everything or avoiding conflict, it's about valuing each other as equals and honoring each other's individuality. It means listening with intention, acknowledging boundaries, and recognizing that your partner's needs, feelings, and aspirations are just as important as your own. Respect creates a space where both people feel safe to express themselves without fear of judgment or dismissal. Respect also extends to how we handle disagreements. In every relationship, conflicts will arise. It's an inevitable part of being human. But how we approach those conflicts speaks volumes about the health of the relationship. Mutual respect ensures that disagreements are handled with kindness and a focus on resolution, rather than blame or control. It allows for open, honest dialogue where both parties feel heard and valued, even if they don't see eye to eye. Understanding is another cornerstone of true love. It goes beyond surface-level empathy to a deeper awareness of what makes your partner who they are, their experiences, values, fears, and dreams. Understanding doesn't mean you'll always agree or fully grasp what the other person is feeling, but it does mean making an effort to see the world through their eyes. When you cultivate understanding, you foster connection. You become attuned to the nuances of your partner's emotions and needs, creating a bond that feels deeply personal and unique. This understanding doesn't happen overnight. It requires curiosity, patience, and a genuine interest in getting to know your partner on a profound level. It's about asking questions, listening actively, and embracing the complexities of who they are. Effort is the thread that weaves respect and understanding into the fabric of a strong relationship. Love, as powerful as it is, cannot sustain itself without effort. It requires showing up consistently, even when it's inconvenient or uncomfortable. It's in the little things, the thoughtful gestures, the words of encouragement, the moments of presence that love truly comes to life. Effort doesn't mean grand romantic gestures, though those can be wonderful too. It means being intentional about how you show love in everyday life. It means choosing to communicate rather than shutting down during conflict, prioritizing quality time together despite busy schedules, and supporting each other through life's ups and downs. Effort is the recognition that love is a living, breathing entity that needs care and attention to thrive. Wholehearted effort also involves self-awareness. A healthy relationship isn't just about what you bring to the table for the other person, it's also about how you take care of yourself. When you invest in your own growth, well-being, and emotional health, you bring your best self to the relationship. Self-awareness allows you to recognize your own patterns, take responsibility for your actions, and approach the relationship with a sense of wholeness rather than dependence. True love, built on mutual respect, understanding, and effort, is a partnership. It's not about one person giving while the other takes, it's about both individuals contributing to a shared journey. It's about celebrating each other's successes and standing together in the face of adversity. It's about creating a dynamic where both people feel empowered, supported, and inspired to grow, not just as individuals, but as a couple. This kind of love also requires vulnerability. To respect someone deeply, to truly understand them, and to consistently put in the effort, you must be willing to show up authentically. Vulnerability creates a space for trust and intimacy to flourish. It allows both people to feel seen, heard, and valued for who they are, not just for what they bring to the relationship. Finally, love rooted in these principles isn't stagnant. It evolves, adapting to the changes and challenges that life inevitably brings. Mutual respect, understanding, and effort provide the stability needed to navigate those changes while maintaining the core of the relationship. They act as an anchor, ensuring that even in uncertain times, the connection remains strong and resilient. So if you're seeking or nurturing love, remember this: it's not about perfection. It's about showing up day after day with respect for each other's humanity, a commitment to understanding each other's hearts, and the willingness to put in the effort required to keep the relationship alive and thriving. True love isn't effortless, but it's worth every bit of energy and care it demands. In that effort, we find a love that is not only enduring, but also deeply fulfilling, a love that reminds us of the best parts of being human. True love is not something we stumble upon, it's something we build with intention, care, and dedication. It grows from the fertile ground of mutual respect, where we honor each other's individuality and boundaries. It is nourished by understanding, where we take the time to see and embrace each other's complexities. And it is sustained by effort, the consistent and wholehearted actions that communicate, "You matter to me." Love isn't about ease or perfection. It's about choosing to show up even when it's hard and committing to the journey of growth together and individually. It's about vulnerability, trust, and a willingness to lean into the challenges of life with someone by your side. True love transforms us because it calls us to be better, not perfect, but present, compassionate, and authentic. In the end, love is not defined by fleeting emotions, but by the enduring connection we cultivate through respect, understanding, and effort. It's a sacred partnership where both people feel valued, seen, and supported. And when we embrace this kind of love, we create a bond that not only endures but thrives, a bond that reminds us of the beauty and strength of what it means to love and be loved.